it's hard to raise money out there. So you really have one opportunity to make your impression with the investors. Appreciate y'all coming out, and thanks for the intro. Thanks to Lulu and Jacoby for having me. Excited to be here. I'm actually from Atlanta and live in California, but originally come from New York, started my career in the fashion industry here, so it's cool to see cannabis really come full circle. I know, appreciate y'all hanging in. Finance can be a more stale or boring topic. Jacoby and I actually met at a cannabis event down in Miami. So wanted to keep this really high level and some actionable items for y'all to take away. So feel free to, take screenshots, and also come hit me up after. It can help direct you to some potential investors. I know it's a hard time raising money out there, but I'm here to help. So thank you. You can go to the next slide. So just starting from the top, I know what is debt, what is equity. These are words that people kind of throw out there. It's actually pretty simple if you think about it. Debt is really just kind of looking at it as credit. This is money that someone giving you and you have to pay back plus interest. Equity is also, an investment in your company, but that is taking ownership. So, the pro is you don't have to pay that money back, but you're also now diluting your own equity, and you're also making that person a co-owner in your business for the better or the worse. So look out for the partners. There's definitely good partners out there to help you. You can leverage their network and also their skill set, but also, don't bring on investors that you don't want having a say in your business. So debt is kind of like an old school front. People will give you money, give you product, they'll be expecting that back. We can go to the next slide. Quickly on my cannabis story, like I said, I started my career here in New York, actually, in fashion, moved out to California while I was still on the fashion side of the business, but started to see, cannabis going from more of just selling packs back and forth across the country to actually branding the product, setting up retail, and a lot of similarities to fashion. So kind of like Tahir said, there's a lot of ways to look at weed. You could grow weed, you could have a dispensary, but there's also, having a brand, having the tech companies that support the industry, the marketing. So I'd say really, lean into your niche and your specialty and focus on how you can bring your skill set. I happen to become a partner in a pre-roll brand. So if any of y'all want to smoke afterwards, called Higgs. That was my first foray into the industry and really saw the need for access to capital. So similar to what Tahir was saying, it's hard to raise money right now in any type of industry. Cannabis has even less access to it, and I was experiencing that firsthand. So more coming from the actual entrepreneur and operator side than the finance side. Fortunate to partner up with Snoop's VC, which is a group called Casa Verde. They focus on investing in the tech side. So actually, LeafLink, who is just up here, Dutchy, a few of the companies are Casa Verde portfolio companies. And a VC firm is that's venture capital. They're investing equity in these businesses. So I'd really just network, and that was how I got connected with them. I would advise everyone, look for people within your own specialty. So if you're, again, a tech company, look for an investor that focuses on tech. If you're a brand, look for an investor that focuses on the branding side. And even if you're a woman founder, there's VCs focused on specifically women-founded companies, same for BIPOC companies. So kind of do your research, know what type of investor you're looking for, and obviously we'll increase your success rate because it's hard out here to find capital. You really want to be targeted with the groups that you're talking to. Then kind of the last part is I got to the lending side, and on the lending side, you'll see a lot of interesting things, which is the actual financials of the company. A lot of people, they have smoke and mirrors of marketing. When you see who's actually making money, I think that's obviously all of our goal here is to have a profitable business. So kind of focus on the fundamentals and not just the image that you're projecting out. And through that, I got excited to see cannabis coming back to the East Coast, or I guess it's always been here, but legal cannabis coming to the East Coast. So really have focused on, bringing what the lessons we've learned in California and some of these more mature markets to the East Coast opportunities. I think y'all are really at the right place at the right time, being here in, month 2 or 3 of legal cannabis in New York. that is where the investors are looking, is these emerging markets. So on the positive side, I think, if there is money to be put in cannabis, here in New York is a great place to do it. So we can go to the next slide. Cool, so first step, how to raise equity capital. Like I said, that is someone giving you money and all they're asking in return is, they're taking ownership, but you're not responsible for paying that back. So that is a positive. You're looking for VCs, which is the venture capital groups, friends and family, angel investors. So those are obviously just high net worth individuals that will give you capital because they believe in you and your business. Placing equity is just really a bet on that person and that team, and not, looking at the fundamentals. You can kind of have an aspirational idea. If you find someone that identifies with you and identifies with what you're building, that's your chance to get that equity capital. There's 3 stages to that process. So really just want to walk you through like what this looks like, what's needed. The first step is that friends and family round. So going out to individuals that will give you, 25, 50K, 100K checks. Next step would be the seed round. So once you actually get your business moving, you've got some clients, you've got some revenue coming in, this is that capital that will help you build out a team, help scale the business. And that's when you'll want to go towards more of these venture capital groups, family offices. So those are, wealthy families that have their own investment capital. That's still there, and that's really who you need to be looking for, especially here in New York City. I mean, we're right across the river from where finance capital of America. Like, you need to be out there networking. And then the last step is kind of that series A, B, and C. So if you hear those terms thrown out, just good to know, like, that's the series of following rounds you'll be raising from investors as you look to have an exit, which I think, most everyone's goal as an entrepreneur is to turn your business into something of value. The exit is when you either get acquired or merge with another company. You can still keep your ownership to some degree, or you could sell it and move along. It's obviously up to you, but that's actually putting money in your pocket for your hard work. So I think all of our goals is to have that exit. So next slide. So I want to give a real takeaway here. If y'all take any pictures, this is kind of what you need to do to make that pitch deck. Again, I'll keep reiterating, it's hard to raise money out there. So you really have one opportunity to make your impression with the investors. I would advise, either find a friend that has a design background, hire someone if you can afford it, but you really need to have a quality presentation and not just kind of throw it together and hope it sticks. First step is easy, cover slide, that's your logo. Next step is your product and your mission statement. So, are you a brand? Are you selling pre-rolls? Are you selling flour? Are you a tech company? Lay it out, what you're doing and your why. Then your team, again, especially on the equity side, the investors are really investing in you. So it's what is your experience? What does everyone on your team bring to the table? And make sure to partner with other people that, bring a different skill set than you do. So if you're great at branding, have a finance person on the team and really highlight everyone's experience to kind of give investors confidence that you guys are the right team for the job. The problem, so that's why is this needed? Pretty straightforward, but again, that can be everything from, I'll just use LeafLink again as an example since they were up here. That was how do retailers order from a series of brands, so a marketplace was created. In Massachusetts, we're building out a facility. A lot of people have distillate oil on the East Coast. We're bringing more live resin, live rosin, so quality products. That's, they have bad product in one market, you're trying to bring good product to the market. The solution is how you're gonna solve it, obviously. Market size is who's gonna buy this. So whether it's your dispensary in New York, how many people are you serving? If you're selling a tech software platform to retailers across the country, how many retailers are you? You gotta know your market, and these are gonna be the questions that investors will ask you. Competitive landscape, who else is doing it? If you say no one else is doing what you're doing, you're lying, so don't say that. You should really know the other players in the space and why you're different. Traction and timeline, that's where you're at, and you should keep it real. Like, people are gonna say, okay, this is my idea and this is the plan. Where are you actually at in that plan? And don't lie, the investors will look for that. So if you're just in the idea stage, say you're at the idea stage and this is how you're gonna do it. If you're saying it's gonna take a year and it's gonna take 3 years, maybe just say it's gonna take 3 years, because again, you need to be transparent as you're raising the money. The business model, pretty straightforward. How do you make your money? So you're selling a brand to retailers. The retailers are paying you. You're making bulk oil. Are you putting that into brands? Are you selling that B2B? What is your revenue stream? And then your forecast. You really need to put together what the opportunity is. How much money are you planning to make? Because you're asking investors to give you money if you don't even know what you're going to be bringing back in return. So that's the ROI, the return on investment. They're going to see right through you. Even if keep your projections realistic. Lots of people say, hey, I'm going to do some crazy amount next year. People will see through that as well. So I would say understand what the potential for your business is, but also keeping it in line with the reality is key. Use of funds, also very key. You're saying, give me $2 million. What are you going to do with that $2 million? You need a clear plan, and these are just the questions the investors are going to ask you in return. If you only need $1 million to do the job, raise $1 million, because you need to be efficient with your money. It's not, historically, people in cannabis or any industry, they've raised crazy amounts of money with no real rhyme or reason. You need to have specific plan for that, especially in these harder economic times. No one's just going to give you money to go blow. So this use of funds, very key slide. And then the last part is who else is involved in the company. Investors like to participate where they see other people putting their money in. If they say, oh, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing, I want to jump on that. So highlight other investors, highlight advisors. You're here at this event, find someone that has done this before, have them be an advisor in your company, have them connect you and really leverage that network. Next slide. And then kind of the debt part. So historically, I guess much less sexy than equity capital is debt. Doesn't sound great. That would be credit that you're expected to repay. But realistically, it's going to be a lot. Not that it's easy even to get debt, but there's debt out there to get it. It's hard to find that equity investment right now. You need to know what the lenders are looking for and how to go about that. So kind of 4 main types. There's equipment financing. If you're building out an operation, you need machinery to go, you're building a cultivation, you're building an extraction. There's lenders that will lend on that equipment. That's of value. Real estate, if you own real estate, whether you're a retailer, cultivation, you can use that again as collateral because you're going to be posting something that you own. And worst case scenario, how the debt works, just so you know, is if you don't pay that debt back, they can take the collateral. So be cautious, but also leverage the things that you own, your assets, to get more money. It's kind of the full concept behind debt. Credit cards, you can support your business in some way around credit cards, probably not the wisest or most scalable way, but if you're an early stage startup, you can go out there, buy packaging, buy what you need to with the credit cards. This is all different forms of debt financing, and really kind of 4 steps to it. You need the financials. So equity investors, they'll invest in an idea and a deck. Lenders are going to say, what are the real numbers? What's actually going on? So if you have sales and you don't keep track of that, doesn't matter. It may not be the funnest, and I've been on the brand side, but you have to have an accountant, a bookkeeper on staff, keeping track of that on a regular basis. You need some operational history. So also, just so you know where you're at with your company, a lender, for the most part, isn't really going to look at you until you have at least 6 months of revenue, because they need to see that you're making the money to pay that back. Maybe in the case that you have significant real estate or other assets, they will lend to you, but just for reference, you want to come at the right time. So for most lenders, that's again, once you're actually driving revenue. And then profitability is key. A lot of people, especially early on in the industry, they're like, well, we're just going to spend and spend and spend. We're going to market. Like, that doesn't work. You need to make sure, this is pretty simple, but you want more money coming in that you're spending. And you need to work towards profitability and have a very clear plan to get any type of capital, but definitely for a lender, as you're responsible for servicing that debt. The boring stuff, the licenses, the compliance, having a lawyer, regulatory, insurance, don't skip that. Like, that will come up during due diligence. Very easy to solve and may not be the funnest part, but have those boxes checked. And then the last part is time. Like, the process, just so you understand, to apply for a loan could take, a month, most likely 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So I'd say make sure you're going out to apply for a loan before you need the money. If you come and say, hey, need that money tomorrow, one, it's not gonna sound good to the lender, and two, it doesn't happen that quickly. So just kind of have a plan for your business and know what that timeline looks like. Next slide. Word. So on the final takeaways, I mean, I'm not going to open it up for Q&A so we can be efficient with the time, but if you guys have any questions, are looking for money, come find me, come smoke after the show. I'd love to help. I think networking, yeah, we could smoke. Networking is key, so obviously that's where I'm here to help. Ask for referrals. So, I mean, most people are going to tell you no, they don't have the money. I mean, I honestly don't have the money right now to invest in every idea either, but I could connect you with someone who does. So again, look for that connection. If you meet someone and they say, I only invest in this type of company, say, do you know someone that invests in my type of company? I would leave every conversation looking for your next conversation. And then just keep pressing forward. Like, it's tough out there. You got to look for those green lights. Right now, you're going to see a lot of red or yellow lights. This is a $1 billion market at the least this year. That'll grow to 2 or 3 billion in the next year. Like, there's money out there to be made. And I think, you know, one, most people here, I hope, are passionate about weed. Also, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're trying to make money. So there is a huge opportunity out there. You know, keep your head up. Keep meeting people, and every conversation, again, I think can lead to that next one, and you're really gonna just find like a serendipitous flow where you'll find the right people, the right partners at the right time. So I appreciate y'all listening to me, and hopefully can talk to y'all some later after the show. That's my cell, and that's my direct email, so hit me up if you guys have any questions.